And so there's a great freedom in the four elements practice that frees us from this constructed version of ourself that we've been working on for years and years and years. This is called identity view, Sakkaya Ditthi, this version of ourself that we've built up. And in the stages of enlightenment described in Buddhism, the first stage of enlightenment is a stage which sees through this illusion of self. This is why these practices, which start to unpick, to gently tap or knock down our version of self. That's why these practices are so powerful and also quite difficult to comprehend, quite hard to understand. They're very deep, profound concepts. We've got this view of self, this view of me, mine, I, which we're very attached to. And it's this attachment that causes us so much suffering. Me, my spiritual practice, my meditation time. Disturbing me, these birds, these phones, these snores. Me, mine. This is my pain, my injury, my wound, my trauma. We cling to these things. We're attached to this version of ourselves. That attachment causes us suffering. The Buddha said that there's two darts, like two arrows. The first arrow is like the physical pain. The second is our mental pain, the response. He said, we can't do anything about the first, but we can do something about the second. We don't need to respond so much when we have this view of self as permanent, stable, fixed, as me, mine, I. Then we respond very strongly because we've built this attachment around it. We've built that attachment around our experiences. But when we start to break down that view of self, deconstruct it, perhaps to see more clearly in accordance with nature, that these things are dependently arisen, they arise because of causes, conditions, they're part of processes, they're changing, they're impermanent, they fade. When we see like this, we break that attachment a little bit, right? We break that view of mine, me, I. And it allows us to reduce our suffering. So when the body starts to do its thing, it's just the body, it's just these processes, it's just this stuff happening. I can't control it. I can't wish it away. This is just the body. And when things happen to us in life, We don't take it so personally. This is just things arising, things passing away. If people call us a bad name, sure, it's not very nice, but we don't need to respond with outrage. It's like, yeah, well, there's no one here. This is empty. These four elements coming together, causes, conditions, processes, falling apart. What do I care? And this is what Sariputta said, that we can endure insults better when we practice the four elements meditation. Because our view of self has been challenged. And so this is why this practice that we're doing is important. It's penetrative. I'm just thinking for some reason of one of my dogs, Rani, who had bone cancer, and she had to have an operation, she had to have her leg amputated. My family, everyone was so upset. They were really, really, really upset. They had to do this to the poor dog. And they were so worried for her, so sad for her. And the operation happened. Cut off her hind leg. And when she woke up, she kind of looked down and sniffed a bit. And then she got up, she ran around, wagged her tail. It was as if she didn't even notice. This is that wonderful resilience that dogs have, right? Like the humans were so worried, so scared, so upset, so sad. And she just got up, ran around, wagged her tail. There's a lot of wisdom that we can learn from dogs, a lot of wisdom we can learn from animals. There's a lot of lessons that we can learn here in the forest. And so today when I was taking you around, perhaps it occurred to you too that there's some lessons you can learn in the forest from nature. For me, the ones that really stand out today for me in the forest was seeing the trailer just outside here. Did you see the trailer? With the weeds growing in the back of it, yeah? And this is this resilience of nature that they'll always find a way, yeah? Nature will always find a way to just keep those processes going, to keep growing and growing and growing. Another lesson last night in the forest, looking up, seeing a green shooting star, huge, so bright, so beautiful. This kind of awe that nature has, this awe, this incredible feeling of magic sometimes, that's so good for us to tap into in our ordinary, dull, quotidian lives. To have a bit of magic in nature is quite beautiful. And sometimes that magic is so simple, just the moon in the sky, a sunset, a dawn. Somehow it connects on a deep level with us and inspires us. Another lesson from nature today, she's messy, right? Mother Nature is messy. especially in Australian forests, always leaves dropping any time of the year. Sticks everywhere, grass crawling up trees, vines everywhere. It's messy, right? And on the forest floor, the decay, the impermanence on display, those leaves that once were in the trees, now on the ground, their colour faded, losing their shape, becoming brittle, drying out, cracking, going back to earth. And so there's so many ways that we can think about the lessons of the forest. There's a lot of wisdom to be had. But unless we see this for ourselves or investigate, experience for ourselves, then it's just useless information, right? It's just like words on a page. It doesn't mean anything until you put it together and construct meaning, until you synthesize that knowledge into experience. And that's wisdom, experiential knowledge. And this is why coming here, or any time going into nature, it gives us this opportunity. It gives a container for our experience. And this is a way of looking that we don't usually engage in our ordinary environment, although I'm sure you do in your homes, in your backyards, on your walks. You see nature in this way. There are lessons to gain, but because of the busyness of our life, it's difficult to see them. And so coming here with fresh eyes, change, holiday, retreat, we start to see things in a different way. And when we see intentionally, then we start to unlock the meaning of the things that we're looking at. So today we had a few chats with some of you. We had a few conversations about your experiences. And I thought to finish our session tonight, instead of just listening to me babble on, I'm interested in your sharings of your lessons, whether on this retreat or at other times. What are the lessons of the forest that you've learned? And can you share them with us so that together our wisdom can grow? So I thought for the next 30 minutes, we have an opportunity to come together. I know you do sharing quite a lot with your practice in the sit-in, right? It's like a large part of your practice, so it's nothing new to you. One thing though, just 30 minutes, okay? So don't overshare. But perhaps this is a good time to also have a few marshmallows. Yeah? So if anyone wants to volunteer to be a marshmallow toaster, and then once again we'll come together in that circle around the fire, so we'll just spend a few moments to readjust, and a time for listening to others' wisdom in the hope that ours may grow. Does it sound okay? And then perhaps we'll do another quick session of meditation before bed.